An American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stay.
This is Wild About Liberty, where the community joins together. Now here's your host, Terry Wild.
You're in for a treat with this show tonight. You're going to be meeting Mr. Guillermo Moreno. Family owns KXEX. You're the head of that situation, and I'm so happy to have you on the program.
It's a situation, Terry.
It is.
I like it. It's a situation.
Well, you know, we in the military have a situation room. And in that situation room, that's where everything happens. That's where the big plan is at. That's where you go in and find out what your orders are and direction and mission. And so this is like our situation room.
It is.
This is KXEX situation room.
I like that.
But what a pleasure to have you on the show. Wild About Liberty. You know, we talked about that title and when we started the show a few months ago. And we're really all about trying to put two big issues across to the listening audience and to our viewers.
Yeah.
How does God fit into politics, and what does it mean to be an American now in this age that we're in, and how does that play out with all the drama that's going on? And so that leads me to the first question I'd like to ask you.
No.
What's the most important critical issue to you in 2024?
Gosh. Is it just one? Yeah, I have to narrow it down. I have to narrow it down to one. Well, let me get back to your original question is God and politics. I think one of my biggest issues is the fact that a lot of churches don't get involved. You got to get involved. I mean, one of the biggest things that you can do when you evangelize is effectuate politics. And I think a lot of people are just comfortable in the pews thinking like, oh, well, I'm in church this weekend, so I'm doing my part for God. And I'm going to pray that things get better in the country, and I'm going to pray for life, or I'm going to pray for this, I'm going to pray for that, and all right, my hour's up, okay, I'm going to go home all week. But we don't want to get involved in politics because politics is of the devil, render to Caesar what is Caesar's and God what is God. So this mentality of if you're a good Christian or if you want to follow God, you can't also be involved in politics, I think is, I know my church takes that stand. I'm Seventh-day Adventist. So I think God plays a pretty pivotal role, and I think people should be politically active, especially Christians. The Christian vote, the evangelical vote, I think is very... well,
it's a game changer.
It
wins the game.
It's a game changer if we show up. If evangelicals show up. So
as a people group,
that's the problem.
25% of Christians vote in America. If we double that, we can't lose.
How much?
25%. 50%, according to the surveys that have been taken, people who identify as Christians, only 50% of those people are registered, and then of those 50%, only 25%.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, that's what we're dealing with. And that's why I have tried to get that across with Liberty Coalition. Look, the numbers are there. We have a 2-to-1 deficit voter registration in California, Republicans versus Democrats. But we also have the no party preference, which are mostly disgruntled Republicans. So we have such a wide range of potential, of opportunity to win every vote. But my experience in 4 years is most of the Republican groups, all they want to do is preach to the choir, talk to each other, and they have to get past the vote of the Hispanics. There's another people group. They're moving toward the whole Donald Trump thing and the values, because you're Hispanic and your culture is all about God, family, country. So you align with the values that we are trying to get across as conservative Christians in America.
Yeah, I agree. The second part of your question was, in 2024, what's the most important thing?
Yeah, what's the most important issue? You've got Trump, you've got Biden, who is
exhaustion.
Really
Exhaustion.
Yeah.
Because I think if the Republican Party feels exhaustion and hopelessness, because if they feel exhausted and hopeless, I don't think they're going to show up. I don't think we show up at all. Like in California, how many times do you hear Republicans say, "Oh, my vote doesn't matter. I'm not going to go vote." It's this, Biden's going to win California. Well, yeah, he's going to win the top of the ticket, but you realize how many Republicans are at the bottom of the ticket that actually can win, and I think that goes to hopelessness. I think there's a lot of hopelessness, and I think it's just fatigue. The 24-hour news cycle, that's all you hear about it. It just gets pounded every single day. And these candidates now are running like a year on out. I think people are just tired. So I think that the biggest issue, the obvious issue, is getting that Republican to get into the ballot box or to vote. That is the issue. Because, Terry, if we don't show up, if conservatives don't show up, it's game over. I mean, no issue matters. Abortion doesn't matter. Crime doesn't matter. Turning around this country doesn't matter. That what matters in 2024 is getting that person in the ballot box. You can't get it there. You can't change any issues, and we're back at square one.
Well, if we can't do that with our children being at risk in the schools, if we can't do that with the obvious controlling factor of Newsom and the government in California, they're just doing a power grab. They're trying to take our rights away, our Constitution away. I don't know what it's going to take.
People aren't. I don't think anything's gonna. And you're probably gonna disagree with me, but I don't think people want to change. Because look at COVID. I mean, we were sent home. We couldn't worship. They told us what to do. They told us how to dress. They told us what vaccines to take. Surely you would have thought like, oh, if the government ever told me that, that's it. That's the last straw. But people did it. They did it willingly. And so I'm always asked that question like, hey, when do you think things are going to change? Oh, this is going to be the year. Gavin Newsom is not going to get away with it, but I don't think anyone's going to change. Terry, politics is religion now.
Exactly.
Politics is religion. If you're a Democrat, you're worshiping on the left. If you're a Republican, you're worshiping on the right.
But
so
here's where we have a chance. The whole book of Romans, do you know what that whole book distills down to? Hope for the hopeless.
Yeah.
We're hopeless in this world. People are hopeless. They're living a life. They're trying to make some sort of a life and family and pleasure. Mm-hmm. But if they're not rightly related to Christ, if they don't come to Christ, they're going to hell. It's eternal damnation for them. And you think they'd be more worried about it. I kind of, don't understand it. But I know this, that there's hope for people. And if you can just get that hope across, then just give them reason to hope. That's the point. And there is reason to hope. If you look at the numbers, I've looked at the numbers, and I'm not a pro, I'm not a super expert, but I went through the Republican campaign managers training course, and I had all the information. I've been on a couple of really important campaigns as a worker, not as a big leader. But the numbers are just so clear. I just don't understand why no one's working with the numbers. Our votes are sitting out there. They're begging us, come and get us. We're here. Just talk to us. Help us relate to you in a way. And that's why the Hispanic community is so doggone important.
Yeah, I think what it boils down to two things, Terry. The first one is, I think a lot of conservatives go into every election cycle with, the proof is in the pudding, guys. It's right there. Look how bad it is. We almost think that it's gonna happen for us, right? Like, people understand how bad it is. They're gonna go vote, and they're gonna vote the way we want them to. You're right. We really don't do the work because we rely on people's common sense. Like, you're not gonna go down this road again, right? And it turns out that they do. That's the first problem. And the second problem is, Terry, we got a huge marketing problem. We got a huge marketing problem. There's so many things to be done, and there's not enough Republicans to do them.
We have a unity problem.
And here's the other thing. If I never met you, I showed up to your house, right? Terry, I'm with the Republican Party. You got your ballot? Can you just give it to me, because I can turn it in for you, and I want to make sure that you count. Never. Why wouldn't you give me your ballot?
I was crazy.
Well, let me tell you, if I went to your house right now, you know me, would you give me your ballot?
I'd give it your ballot. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. But you get my point, right?
I do.
The reality is, You go to any other party affiliation, they're gonna turn over their ballot. But you go to a conservative, they're not gonna turn over their ballot.
But you know what's made me last 4 years in this dungeon, trying to be involved with the political thing, because I think God wants us to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you mentioned earlier that it's dirty business, dirty politics. I'm totally convinced. Now, I've been reading the Bible for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
I got saved over 50 years ago. There's never been a day I haven't read the Bible in 50 years.
Amen.
I made a vow. So I'm not saying that. And then, in fact, some people say, you mean this is all we get after 50 years of reading the Bible? You know, it goes both ways, right?
Yeah.
But the come behind story is in every page of the Bible. They come from behind, and God used the weak things of the world. God used the inferior things of the world. You know, the whole point of Jesus picking his disciples, I don't know if you know what actually was historically going on at the time, but it was a common practice for any rabbi to take the aspiring students who had to go through this whole training course, because after 8 years you had to know the Torah. After that, you went on to advanced training. If you didn't cut it, you became a fisherman, a farmer, a carpenter, or something. And then the elite of the elite passed it all with great grades, and then the rabbis would go seek them. So they wanted the best of the best. And it was the same thing that Jesus did. They went and interviewed people. They said, we want you. I'll be your rabbi. And the whole obligation of the rabbi was to transfer everything they knew and impart it into those disciples before he died. That was his obligation. The obligation of the student was, the disciple, I'm going to apply myself to learn everything you know. So that was the way it worked. That was common. What did Jesus do? He went out and he found the losers.
The ragtag group.
These guys didn't make it.
Yeah.
They were washed out
That's so
of the
true.
program. They couldn't stay in the educational system.
Yeah.
And so he found the fisherman. He found the tax collector. He found all these different people who couldn't cut the grade. And in my whole life, I've lived a whole come from behind life since I was a kid. And I went through the army. Our battalion I was in Dachau concentration camp for 3 years in an artillery unit. We had to be tested every year in Grafenwehr, Germany, and we were the last rated battalion in the 7th Army. It was pathetic.
They rated? Aren't they?
Oh, yeah. You get a rating. You get a grading.
Your whole battalion?
A whole battalion, 1,000
shoot.
soldiers. I mean, it's embarrassing. We go down to the Hofbräu House Beer Hall, and they looked at us like we're the stinky battalion.
How
right?
would they know what battalion you are? Because you got the marking?
Oh, yeah, you have your badges and your insignias, and they know who you are. Oh, God, there's that ragtag group, right? They sent us this guy who had to be somehow related to George Patton. He came in, kicked butt, took some names, got a little, crazy. And he went to every one of us. I was in charge of telecommunications, security, and message center. And that was a pretty critical job. We had a very sensitive aspect to our battalion, like tactical nuclear. And so,
what was that?
Tactical nuclear.
So they gave the least ranked group one of the highest situations.
Our security was really, really tight. And we would get messages every month telling us who went to jail for violations of security.
Wow.
So this guy came in and showed us how to win. He came in and took over the battalion, got a battalion formation going. I can still remember it. I mean, it's just like a movie that I saw years ago. And it was so dramatic. It could have been a movie. But he had all the NCOs, non-commissioned officers, step forward. He said, these are the guys that run the Army, and you officers better learn how to be a soldier from them. I mean, it was inspiring. It was sort of like a movie thing. And then he went through that whole, inspiration message. And then he put everybody to work effectively, united that battalion. We went from last to first place.
Wow.
The next year in Grafenwehr, we were first place. But he asked all of us, all the department heads, what'll it take for you to give me number one? Just give me your wish list. So I said, okay, I want 3 things. I want a high school diploma. I want a Sergeant 3-stripe insignia because I was in a specialist grade. I looked like a Boy Scout with this funky little badge on my shoulder. I wanted to look like a soldier.
Yeah.
Go find the girls, right? And then I said, I want an honorable discharge. So he said, you got it. You give me number one in your grade. If your grades give me number one, you'll get everything. And we did.
Wow.
I got it all. But that feeling of coming from behind, and that's what I want to see happen here. That's what I want to see happen in Fresno. I want to see people come together, unite together. I'm telling you, it's power.
It is. And here's the problem, Terry. The Republican Party, the Republican groups in Fresno, it's rough. It is rough. It's like, you've heard the saying, too many chiefs, not enough Indians. And everybody wants to be a chief. Everybody wants to be in charge. Nobody wants to do the work. Nobody wants to knock on doors. Nobody wants to do the hard work that it takes. I mean, we could all sit around and pontificate and complain about how things are. And that's what I feel like that's what a lot of our groups do. And we need to stop. I don't know. I don't get me off on a tangent, Terry, but
well, here's what happened. Since I've been here, my job has always been a facilitator. I've been out with, getting my hands dirty, working hard. And so I've been here 4 years now, Liberty Coalition. We have a great group of people. I just love every one of them.
Absolutely.
And, but I found out I'm not a leader. I don't have the gifting and that unique charisma ability to lead people. And so several months ago, I really felt a strong urge in my heart. Stop trying to be a leader and just serve people. Because that's what I do good. I love serving people. I enjoy it and I'm good at it. So I put this room together. I got the copy center together. Yeah. I thought, okay, how can I serve people? For 50 years, I've been in publishing and marketing and things like that. So I just put that together here. And now that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, you got a talent, Terry. I mean, you publishing, you're doing the Christian magazine. You're doing a lot of work, and I see that you're facilitating. But what do you? How do you truly unite? And I'm of the opinion where I think even once we settle on after the primary, I still don't think we're going to get along. Why do the Democrats get along? I mean, the Democrats fall lockstep with each other. They have.
Oh, they do.
They have this high.
They've got the what, the so what, who cares, and what's in it for me. They know that they're so organized.
Are we just not team players? Because you know how there's individual sports and then there's team sports.
Yeah.
Is the Republican Party locally too much individual people that we just can't come together as a team? What is it? You asked me the question. I'm asking you the question. Well, what do you think it is?
I think it. You are what is in your heart. And you can't hide it for long. It eventually comes out. Who you are comes out to people. It gets expressed. But here's the difference that I've seen. When we came here, I wasn't really sure what to do. So we opened up a coffee house, got it all set up and the decorating and everything. And then COVID. Shut down, locked down. Well, that really defined us because we're the only place you could go and have a meal. All the restaurants are closed down. And then everything changed. And so all of the circumstances in Georgia and my life has been about adjusting to people, loving people, valuing people. I've never been able to do this in my life until I came here at this level. And it's been a learning curve that I wouldn't trade for anything. Nothing. We don't regret a second of all the things that have gone on since we've been here. But I don't want to be a loser. I love Donald Trump. And I also, have some issues with him. But he's brought us a whole new vocabulary. And it's so refreshing. It isn't the typical political rank, hack kind of stuff. And he said, you're either a winner or a loser because you get the votes, you don't win, you're a loser. So I want to be a winner. I just ache to get unity going, strategy going. Let's get a plan. And that plan is there. That plan says you can win if you want it. If you want it, you can win. Just take it.
But yeah, I agree. I just think we got to figure out a way to really activate people.
But you have to activate you. Guillermo has to be.
Well, I'm going to vote.
I know you're going to vote, but you've got to, faith without works is dead. And Jesus wants the commitment. That's what he's after. He, in every situation, every aspect of our life, that's what gets you saved is the commitment, the transaction. And that's what keeps you going in the process of spiritual growth and development. But you have to believe it. You have to want it. You have to commit to it. Now, I'm committed. But man, I'm exhausted like you. I mean, 2024, I don't know what's going to happen after that, especially if we don't win.
Yeah. Well, I think.
But even if we do win, I think I'm burned up just about right now.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I think fatigue. There's a lot of Republicans, right? There's a lot of registered Republicans in the area. You and I think about it this way: you and I probably know less than 1% of the Republicans.
Yeah,
less than 1%, which means there's 99% of conservative voters just in our backyard that we don't know. And it's that 1% that truly, and listen, we all can't get along, right? Obviously, the Republican Party and all the groups, but we're all trying to work towards a common goal. But there's only 1% of us. I think, Terry, we don't have the foot soldiers. We don't have the foot soldiers like the other side. And I think if imagine if we had, 100 of you, 100 of me, 100 Fred Vanderhoofs. This job would be it would be lighter. The load would be lighter. And we just don't have enough people that wanna step up. Think about it. I mean, if you and I were to write down numbers wise how many Republicans we know in this fight, and we were to take the registered Republicans in this area, I bet you we would just be astonished at how many
let me try and take you up to another level, because we have the human level where we were made and created for this natural world. Everything about this world that God created, its limitations, its natural laws, we're subject to those because God made us for those. He made the laws for us. So, when you become a Christian, you don't just leave all of the natural aspects of life and become some sort of spirit being. You're physical. You live in a physical world, and you have to deal with all of that. But then there's the spiritual dimension. That part of us that God made in our spirit, this intuition that he gave us, this conscience that he gave us is in the spirit, and our ability to commune outside of the natural realm. I mean, when you're praying, you're not in some mathematic class talking about, calculus. Mm-hmm. You're talking to the living God of all creation, a being that's so gigantic and awesome you can't even comprehend him.
Yeah.
But you're speaking to him in a prayer. When you pray, that's what you're speaking to. And that's the God that's capable of saying, let there be light. And there's light. And he spoke the world into existence, and that's who you get to talk to and communicate with. And so my point is, no, if you don't have that experience where you've been born and made alive spiritually, then you're really in trouble. All you can do is just live, drink, be merry, find some pleasure in life before you go.
Then we're going to go back to where we started. God's in control.
That's the point.
Then it doesn't matter how we vote. The politics doesn't matter. If God's in control, right?
But he's given you a responsibility. Faith without works is dead. So when I got this whole burden to come here, I prayed very earnestly, very humbly. I said, Lord, why do I have to do this? Because we're going to lose. We can't win. The culture has gone so far over the cliff that you're not going to bring America back to 1950, Ozzie and Harriet, Leave It to Beaver. That's never coming back. we're now in a level of evil and reprobate life and living and thinking and doing. And it was like the Lord said to me, don't worry about it. Just do your job. I'm calling you to go to Fresno, do this work, work hard, get up every day, go to bed at, 10 o'clock and get up the next day at 7, just go to work. So that's what I've been doing for 4 years. I won't give up because it isn't about winning the Republicans winning or the Democrats winning. It's God winning. God wins when we serve him. God wins when we stand strong. God wins when we proclaim his values, his truth. There's never been a time in my life that I've ever seen the opportunity to bring the cultures and the races together in a common, mutually beneficial way. The whole racist thing that the Democrats are using as a weapon, I've seen since I've been here, Hispanics, the African Americans, all the different races, we get along, we love each other, we work with each other, and there's the opportunity to bring a testimony and a witness to other people of how people are to work and treat each other. And so there's so much more involved than just the political win or loss if we're involved. And that's what I would encourage people to think about. Get your inspiration from the Lord. Get your inspiration from who God says you are.
I agree.
Yeah,
I'm not going to disagree with that. No, you're right, Terry. We have to have faith. You gotta put that faith into action. And I wish there was just more of us and yous that would do it, would step up.
Well, why did Guillermo Moreno want to get involved with the radio station?
God, same thing. God opened the door and provided me with this platform, and pretty much said that if you want to continue providing this platform for yourself and for others, you gotta put the sweat equity in.
Why do you care?
Oh gosh, that's a loaded question.
I mean, you're helping people. You're trying to reach people. You're trying to bring a message to people, and you're doing that, by the way. KXEX has some talent on this program and great people.
It does.
And you're responsible, and your mom, for making all this available to people. But
yeah, well, not only that, but I think KXEX, and then before it was KGED. I mean, without the Christian programming, this station would have been dead a long time ago.
Right.
So, I mean, there is a big Christian element to it, and it's just I'm just a caretaker. It's not mine. It's not my mom's. We're just caretakers. I mean, this platform. If you listen to our programming on the weekend, you're going to hear Jim Cece, Campus Bible Church, Jim Franklin, The Narrow Path, Kingdom Talk with Dennis McCourt. You're going to hear Solid Gospel West. I mean, Adventure Church, Monty Fiera. I mean, you're just going to hear Romancing the Saints, Calvary Chapel, Teaching of Jesus with Vern Grimsley.
That's awesome.
There's just so much. And so, I mean, that excites me, because guess what? There might be somebody, driving, just having a horrible day, and they're just channel surfing, and they fall upon the message, and God will lead them there. So just being here, means something. And that's why I do it. I do it because I enjoy doing it. I enjoy informing people during the week and giving them my point of view. And people have been very receptive. I've been blessed.
What led Guillermo Moreno to Christ? Well, how old were you?
I was born Catholic.
Okay.
So I was born Catholic, and then my mom went to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and then said, "Hey, I think we've kind of been doing this thing wrong." And so I said, "Oh well, I don't see how. I mean, we've been in church on Sundays." And I remember the first time I went to a Seventh-day Adventist church, because the Catholic Church, you're in an hour, you're in and out,
out,
bada
man.
bang,
Lunch.
bada boom, get the Jesus, get the bread, boom, hour, you're out. You can go buy some snacks on your way out, And I remember the first time I went to a Seventh-day Adventist church, it was not an hour, it was long.
Oh boy,
it was like 3 hours.
Oh my!
I was like, what the heck is Sabbath school? Like, you gotta come to church before the church. Why are all these people talking? Like, why are we still here? So anyhow, it was a bit of it was interesting. And then in college is when I went to Seventh-day Adventist school. God pretty much led me to that. So pretty much God opened the door and said, hey, listen, I want you closer to me. And in college is where I, became baptized as a Seventh-day Adventist. So that's kind of where it happened.
Well, what was the circumstances? Did you make a altar call type of conversion? Were you led to make a public profession? How did that work?
I'm not a big fan of altar calls. I think it's great. I don't think it works for everybody.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's and Adventists are notorious for having long altar calls and just kind of saying, "Well, I'm gonna one more minute, one more minute.
I'm gonna try one more time.
I know there's somebody out there," and then the music will start playing. I'll say, "Oh, but hold on, I just feel that there's one more person." And now you're 30 minutes in the altar call, and no one's. And then they kind of, I don't know if they do this in other churches, but they kind of save it by saying, "Okay, Lord, now I'm getting called. If you just want to rededicate your life," and then they go into these. You just raise your hand.
Yeah.
So no, it was. My mom had been praying about it. I had been praying about it, and it was a certain pastor that, did a prayer group and listen, I went to school with a lot of other Christian Seventh-day Adventists, so it just felt right, and it was deep inside. You have to have that feeling, and it just felt like, hey, this was time, because I had been baptized when I was younger in the Catholic Church. Obviously I don't remember it.
Yeah, right.
I don't remember that decision that was forced upon me, but yeah, it was in college. I felt the call, and it was deep in my heart, and I said, okay, it's time to get baptized, because I went 2 years to the Adventist church, and I still wasn't baptized.
So after you became a Christian and you committed yourself and baptized in college, right? So you finished college, then what?
Then what did I do?
Yeah.
Went to law school.
Okay. And are you, do you have a license?
I do not have no, not the bar, but right. I can talk nice.
Well, that's a powerful training. You learn to think in a very critical way.
Yeah, you learn to overanalyze. No, but a law degree is, just so needed. It was in law school where I was like, you know what, I'm not quite sure I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
it's one of those things. But the training, the knowledge, the education, I think has been such, like you said, such a blessing, that base of knowledge that you get. And then I was in the Midwest. I was in Michigan, and I decided, you know what, I want to bring my wife to California, and I want to come back home, because home is important.
And she was from there?
She was originally born in Europe, and then also she came to the United States when she was about 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What
9.
Country?
Latvia.
Latvia. Yeah.
You've been there?
No, I spent a year in Russia. We lived in Moscow for a year.
Wow.
And did a lot of traveling. I didn't go to Latvia. But
Did you see Bernie Sanders when he was on his honeymoon?
No, Bernie Sanders. Oh gosh, I was fortunate. But it's interesting because you're young. How old are you?
This is my last. I'll just put it this way. This is my last year in my 30s.
Oh my gosh, I have socks older than you. But you really have meant a lot to this community, and I've been watching you now for 4 years. I've got to, I had a radio program before.
Yeah. Has it been 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years. 4 long years.
Man, it just feels like yesterday. It just feels like yesterday.
But I think it's worth the fight, and I'm proud of what you're doing. I just love your mother. She is like so tenacious and hardworking.
Amen.
And caring, and so are you. And what do you see yourself doing? Where do you want to take this station?
Well, I want to grow it. I want to make it bigger. I want to have more reach.
What does that mean?
Oh gosh, maybe a permanent FM stick.
Nice.
Yeah, and also we need to be more. We need to up our game as far as digital goes, because the younger generation isn't turning on their radios anymore. They're on social media. They're watching this. So I think, just coming into the 21st century.
But this is smart of you to do this. Having us both on the radio.
Yeah.
and on podcast is a huge
It is.
way to
But
get
I'm a
the
radio
exposure.
guy. You know what I mean? I love
Yeah.
I love just it's audio, and if you grew up with Rush Limbaugh, listening to Rush Limbaugh, I mean, towards the end of his career, he had the Ditto cam, but it was radio,
Well,
right?
you know who was the hot jock when you were in the crib, right?
Who?
The Geeter.
Who's that?
The Geeter with the heater.
Yeah.
The boss with the hot sauce, Philly. And so the whole Philly sound was, this is the Geeter with the heater, the boss with the hot sauce. So I was connected to radio. We didn't have a television when I was growing up. We listened to radio.
Listen to radio, yeah.
And so when I was born, Truman was the president.
Wow.
And the war had just gotten over 3-4 months. And so we grew up in Canada, so we were 10 years or more behind the culture anyway. And so it was all about radio. We listened to every radio, the creaking door, the Phantom, all these dramatic, scary mystery shows on radio. So I
Really?
love radio.
I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah. The first television that came on the street, the whole block was standing in line to go in and look at it. And they had this funky yellow kind of filter in front of it to give it a little, look. And
That's so weird.
It's about 11-inch screen, 12-inch screen, real small, real long. And we thought, oh, that'll never take off. that'll never take off. We wanted our radio.
Yeah.
You really do. You become
that's funny.
attached to something like that.
That's funny.
Well, FM, I know FM AM, but I don't really understand the technical difference. Why FM? What's the importance there?
Well, the biggest thing is maybe not technically, but that's where a lot of the population is.
Okay.
They're on the FM dial.
So the listener is on
it's a better
FM.
experience, obviously, in stereo. So the FM dial is where the majority of the listeners are. AM, you have it's an older group, so you want to be where the fish are. So I'm really hoping we do that. I just want to continue to give everybody a platform to where they can, they can come out and express their point of view. And the other thing, Terry, is I think being a part of the Central Valley is you're go. Everyone's go, right? Like the guest you had on yesterday that was doing great work with traffic children. I didn't know her.
Yeah.
So I think
Right.
I think local radio also provides something, because I mean, if you want to listen to someone talk about Joe Biden or Donald Trump or anybody, you got tons of outlets. But where are you going to find someone that's talking about your community
And make a commitment that
Yeah.
she's made. I mean, it's really critical, the work that she's doing.
Yeah.
But look at all the people that are coming on. You're responsible for this. You're making this happen, and I'm just really grateful to be a part of it. And I want to succeed. I want to succeed for other people. And I want to bring on as much new guests who have a message, who have an important role to play. And I'm enjoying every minute of it. So I'm grateful to you. I appreciate what you and your family have done. We're down to just about a minute and a half, and we're going to be closing out the program. New year ahead of us. We're just kind of waking up after the holidays and all the family stuff and everything. Tell the listeners where the Marino family, how do you see the year ahead? What are your aspirations for 2024?
Oh gosh, health first. You know what I mean? You always got to pray for good health.
Yeah.
Keeping everybody healthy and sane. With a political family like myself, and not all of us like all the Republicans. So families,
Right.
family dynamics, but just making sure that, and more so the younger generation, because I'm getting up there, Terry.
Oh, boy.
I'm almost 40. And it's that next generation. We got to be responsible for our own families, because if you let someone educate your child, they're going to. If whether that be the school or the streets, someone is going to educate your child. So,
Exactly right.
And so I really want to. My family's very special, but I feel sometimes you kind of lose sight. You're at the grind, you're at the daily grind, and you forget about that. So I don't know. I guess spend more time with family. Work as hard as we can. Because hard work leads to good things. Let's
and
just
we're
be
not
real.
giving up either. You know, it's an opportunity we all have. We're so grateful for our audience listening and watching us on Wild About Liberty. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Guillermo, and your family. God bless.
God bless. Thank you, Terry.